Sorry, Ron. I've got to go to the Quidditch stadium. Good luck!
Draco, hang on! You know the plan you had about swapping the Quidditch ball crate for the one with jinxed balls? Well, Flint and Derek have done it. They've put the real crate in the courtyard in front of the clock tower. The cup's ours! Let's go and wipe out Gryffindor!
You took your time. I've just heard that Slytherin have swapped the Quidditch ball crate for one with jinxed balls in it. We've got to tell Professor Dumbledore.
We can't just go telling tales and expect him to stop the match. We've at least got to show him the evidence. Did they say where they'd put the real crate?
In the courtyard in front of the clock tower.
Okay, let's go outside and see if we can get into the courtyard.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good. Welcome back to WaterparkRanger's Let's Play Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. In the last episodes, we gathered the potion's ingredients for the final potion, the girding potion. Now, what exactly does a girding potion do? Well, Snape basically explained it last episode that it will increase your endurance for what he says is a considerable number of weeks. Now, in game lingo, considerable number of weeks means it's a permanent health upgrade for this game. Because let's face it, when an entire year goes back in when an entire year is covered in 4 days, a considerable number of weeks is quite a long damn time, so you get that upgrade for as long as you're playing the game. Now, girding potions are really odd. We picked up 2 of them inside that class. If you don't go back in there and pick up the girding potions from his class, you actually won't get any girding potion from that room. And you'll probably be wondering, where can I find girding potion? Because if you check around the school, like inside the bookcases or other objects, usually you can find Wiggenweld potion and antidotes by searching in places like that. But not girding potion. Girding potion is more rare. You can only find it in very specific circumstances, which I'll go into a little bit later, maybe later this episode, because right now I need to remind you about something that we did last episode, so you don't forget. Last episode, when we were leaving our common room, we picked up a new Lost and Found quest, and it was for the Daily Prophet in the hospital wing. What's really odd is that when they tell you to go outside and, like, solve the problem with the jinxed balls or whatever, you really should go inside the castle and explore, because they leave most of the doors unlocked all of a sudden, letting you go inside and collect a bunch of different things. Which is why we're doing that right now. So I'm picking up the Daily Prophet and bringing it right back to the notice board. We just skipped ahead to the 7th floor, the common room. You know where to find it by this point. So there's 10 house points. And one of the really good things about the board at this point of the game is that it decided to start cooperating with me again. It gave me the next quest to find the set of brass scales in the Charms classroom. On the 2nd floor, that should be it. So just so you remember where the 2nd floor is, I'm trying to make this a very comprehensive LP. Go down the grand staircase, past floors 7 through 3, but instead of going to the 1st floor, you know, right after the place called the 3rd floor, there's this door that's the 2nd floor, and you just kind of go through. It's also really weird because this prefix like standing guard, but because all of a sudden all the doors are open, it doesn't matter anymore that there's prefix standing guard outside the door. They just let you in anyway. It's really bootleg. I guess they're just too excited about possibly winning the Quidditch Cup against Gryffindor. That's one of the other things I missed from this game that the previous game had. Though I guess I use miss in a really odd sense of the word, maybe one that doesn't exist. The Quidditch games that you played in Chamber of Secrets, they had a sort of undeniable charm to them. Even though the match against Slytherin was, like, ridiculously unfair, just due to how hard it was, having them completely gone from this game does take away something, but I'm not sure whether or not that's a good or a bad thing. Quidditch was just kind of weird, so I can't say how much I miss it. Also, that picture is not of Harry Potter. Baron of Wow pointed that out next to the board. There's what looks like a picture of Harry Potter, but no, it's someone else. He looks more like Seamus Finnegan from the movies. Seamus Finnegan's a really minor character, if you're trying to remember who Seamus Finnegan is. And so is for his stone. He's this one kid who's, like, doing this kind of spell to turn, like, water into rum, and it blows up in his face. Most of his spells tend to explode in his face. That's, like, all that Seamus Finnegan does in the movies. I don't remember exactly what he did in the book, though, so I guess you could say his movie character has more character than his book character does, because I only remember his movie counterpart. And right down here is the final Lost and Found item, the potions thingy. It's some potions deal. Potion jar, okay, it didn't really look like a jar, it looked like a bottle of, like, baby formula, but I guess, given how Snape's portrayed in this game, it's not too much of a surprise. Actually, if you know what it really looks like, in SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom, at one point you have to collect a bottle of jellyfish jelly, and that bottle right there looks like a bottle of jellyfish jelly from that game. I remember that game very well. I played it a lot as a kid. It's been a very long time since I played that game, and I probably would remember it well if I were to play it again, though. That being said, there's a lot more things I'd rather do than play that game again. And with that final Lost and Found item returned, it actually gives us a lot more house points, 30, as opposed to the usual 10. So no more Lost and Found items. And if you can believe it, at 500 house points, I believe we have the maximum amount you can achieve for house points in this game. So yeah, at this point, episode 18, we've already got all the Folio Universitas cards, all the Folio Bruti, all the Lost and Found items, and every conceivable house point. So all that's left to do is beat the game. Everything that we're doing from this point on is more or less required.
Look, there it is.
Yeah, but we can't get to it from here. The only way to get to it is to go out into the grounds and then fly in. Or something.
Or something, really? No, Hermione pretty much knows exactly what to do. It's bootleg, though, because there's really nothing blocking them from stepping over that little wall. You know what I mean? There's just those small bars. They can easily squeeze between them. That's like worse than the cage that Dr. Robotnik traps Sonic and Tails in that really horrible Sonic cartoon. I forget what it's called. I almost called it Sonic Says, but I don't think it was called Sonic Says. It was something else.
How are we going to get into that courtyard?
We have to find Buckbeak. Let's go.
She had this all planned out. I'm just kind of entertained by moments in games where, like, characters, like, kind of already know what to do. They don't really give you any chance to figure things out on your own. Which is stupid, because there's no time limit or anything at this point. You just kind of go for it, and then once you figure out what to do, even if they didn't state it outright, usually whenever you check your Remember All, they show you the next thing you have to do on your task list, so it's really redundant, one way or another. Then again, it's easy to forget you have a Remember All, as ironic as that might sound. And at this point, we're just going to get Glacius out, because we're actually going to need Glacius a little bit later, and have Hermione ride Buckbeak, because Ron will always get kicked by Buckbeak. Buckbeak just hates Ron. He's really stubborn that way. There we go. Let's take care of this.
So, fly to that courtyard in front of the clock tower.
I have a much better idea. Because I noticed the Doxies respawned on that tree, I'm gonna see if Buckbeak can interact with them in any way. Like, fly into them. And apparently he can't. I thought that something humorous might happen, like he just killed the Doxies on impact, but no, nothing happens at all. Now they randomly give you a time limit, and if this time limit runs out, then Slytherin will actually win the Quidditch Cup. How you get the Quidditch Cup in this game is not by doing Quidditch matches at all, no, it's this random little quest right here. So I suppose you could say that because we've gotten everything else, the Quidditch Cup is technically a collectible, and if we were to fail to get it, we would fail to have a 100% run at this game. Oddly, when you run, they give you a lot more time. Once you arrive here in the courtyard, they just extend your time. It's like a thing in Hydro Thunder, time extended! And I guess it helps that they do, because Hermione's, like, oddly not wanting to climb these platforms when they're right in front of her. Okay, there we go. So Glacius to make that thing get frozen, that puddle turn into an ice block, and Draconiphores to make the dragon statue come to life. That's pretty cool. But it's not the end of our awkward, bizarre time shenanigans. We got the last time challenge right here.
Got it! Now to go to the Quidditch Stadium.
Once again, the fate of the entire Gryffindor house Quidditch team rests in our hands. Or Buckbeak's hoof claw feet, whatever they are. It's difficult to tell with a hippogriff. Kind of a neat animal, though. I like the way it's portrayed in this movie. I mean, in this game. And the movie more specifically, because Buckbeak was really cool in that movie. Like, Fox was kind of the trademark animal, the magical creature that they had in Chamber of Secrets. But I honestly don't remember Fox as well. Oh yeah, there was that scene where he burned himself up. It's easy to forget how much better the original Dumbledore was. I forget who it was that played him. I just personally prefer the original Dumbledore in the first two Harry Potter movies, because he had a certain kind of, like, timelessness about him. Like, that was some really good acting. I mean, the good thing about the Dumbledore that they had for the rest of the movies was that he was more intense in a way, and Dumbledore as a character was forced to do some more intense things in those movies, like actually get mad and get into fights. But, yeah, and I couldn't really see the original Dumbledore pulling that off. Dumbledore himself is a pretty interesting character. One of my more... I think he's one of the cooler, like, mentor characters in literature in general. The wise old mentor. Some of them are just not as interesting, but Dumbledore, he gets more dimension to him. Even after he dies, like, you learn more about his past, and he's got a lot of dimensions to his character.
Ron and Hermione arrived just in time to show the evidence to Professor Dumbledore, who quietly removed the jinxes from the Quidditch balls and allowed the match to continue. This gave the Gryffindor team the help that they needed, allowing Harry to catch the Golden Snitch and win not only the game, but the Quidditch Cup as well.
You were fantastic!
What's the matter with Hagrid?
Hagrid?
It's no use. Beaky's gonna be executed at sunset. I couldn't help him.
Oh, Hagrid, what can we do?
There's nothing you can do. The time's set and that's it. They just run along and turn in. I gotta go and make Beaky comfortable.
Maybe we could... Oh, I don't know.
No, Hagrid's right. There's really nothing we can do. We should turn in.
I didn't commentate for just a couple seconds, that way you could hear, like, the incredibly sad music they have playing. But the thing that I find pretty entertaining about it, actually, is that it just plays everywhere you go on the grounds for a while now. But if you wait long enough, like, given a minute or so, I guess because they expected you to use a Remember, I'll just end the day here. If you just walk far enough, the music just goes back to being cheerful again. It's like, okay, let's forget all about Buckbeak, doesn't matter anymore. Now what I'm going to show you is something that I kind of was really antsy about showing at first in this LP. I've decided that I'd rather show it now than at the end, because it would make the end of this LP particularly shitty. Owl Racing. A really horrible minigame, perhaps... And once again, there's no reason to do Owl Racing or any other such minigame in Prisoner of Azkaban. You never have any reason to do it, but I might as well show you where it is and how you can play it. You can either go to the title screen and select it from the minigames there, or you can go to certain parts of the Hogwarts ground, where there's just certain patches of ground where if you press A, you immediately just start playing Owl Racing, and there's one of them right here. Unfortunately, this means you can easily stumble into this minigame by mistake. It nails you with a load time that I cut off, but not only that, this game is just outright dreadful and the controls do not work. I'm gonna speed through it. Yes, what you're gonna see is sped up. Just bear with me.
Terrible and Terra-Belle, that's where I'm from. It's 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 terrible and Terra-Belle, that's where I'm from. You cannot chew me, I am bubble gum. See me pop, I am on your block, pushing that rock, pushing that rock, pushing that rock. I am on your block, pushing that rock, and it don't stop, and I don't care. I am out of here, I gotta do my hair. You are over there, I am over here. If you talk shit, I'll make you disappear.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to Owl Racing. Don't know if there's any award you can get from it, any rewards. I know there's an Owl Racing specific item called the Owl Care Kit that you can buy from Fred and George. I don't know what it does, and quite honestly, I don't want to find out. Like, the biggest problem with the game is it tells you to press B in time with the owl's flapping wings. And your owl, if you try to do that and just wait to press B, will just fall to the ground and the game will just end. The best that I've been able to do is just by holding down the B button. You literally saw my best Owl Racing run, and with that, mischief managed.
The house point totals are to be counted. Slytherin, Ravenclaw, Hufflepuff, Gryffindor. Gryffindor is in the lead